Hey love, and welcome to day 5. So for today we're going to be doing a body scan, so focusing on different areas of the body. But before we get into that, I'm just going to go through a couple of spinal stretches. So just a few stretches for the spine, as it's just nice to move a bit to help ground the mind into movement and ground it into the body and feel comfortable and loosen up just a little bit before getting seated and ready. So if you haven't already, finding a comfortable seat on the floor, maybe with a cushion underneath you, or even on a chair if you prefer. Lengthening the spine, just gently closing the eyes. We'll take a deep breath before beginning. So exhaling, inhale into the belly, really being sure it's in the belly and not the chest. And exhaling slowly out through the mouth, letting go. We'll do another one of those. So another deep, full, long, deep breath, really clarifying the breath is going into the belly. And exhaling slowly. Allowing the breath to settle. So you can do this with your eyes closed even, but feel free to open your eyes if you want. Reaching the arms out, bringing the hands up overhead, interlocking the hands and turning the palms around, face up, pushing the palms up towards the sky. Notice if you're sticking your chest out, your belly out, and bring the chest and belly back in. Allow the breath to flow freely and soften the shoulders a little bit so the shoulders come down and away from the ears, spacious around the neck. We'll reach over towards the left, bringing the left hand down, reaching the right hand overhead, really pushing into the ground or holding onto the side of your chair with that left hand, pushing into ground to lengthen the right side of the body, clarifying both bum cheeks are firmly grounded. Breathing freely, the head to the neck can be soft, relaxed. Noticing that you might feel the breath more on the right side of the body right now because it's pulled more taut. And then bring the top arm up and over, keeping the head down, and bring the right hand to parallel with the ground. Pull the right fingertips in the opposite direction to the crown of the head. So the crown of the head and the fingertips are pulling away from each other, stretching the right side of the neck. And coming all the way back up, so right hand comes down, left hand comes up and over, really pushing to the ground or onto the side of the chair with the right hand. Both bum cheeks grounded. Lengthening the left side of the body, so you might notice the breath more along the left side of the body now as the skin is pulled taut here. Breathing freely. And then keeping the head down, top hand comes up and over, parallel to the ground, head stays down, and pulling the left fingertips in the opposite direction to the crown of the head. Crown of the head and the fingertips pulling away from each other, stretching along the left side of the neck. And then coming all the way back up. Doing a couple of shoulder rolls, really slowly, really getting into all the parts of the circle that you're drawing with your shoulders. So slow movements, really exaggerating the circles. And then going in the opposite direction. You might notice it feels a little bit different going in the other direction. Just usually one direction comes a little more naturally than the other. Beautiful, and then interlocking the hands and pushing in front of you, arching the back, dropping the head, really getting a lot of length along the back of the spine. Breathing freely. And then bring the hands over to the right knee, stretching out the left side. And then over to the left knee, stretching out the right side, breathing freely this whole time. Coming all the way back up, interlocking the hands behind the back this time and reaching up. So something like this, pulling the hands gently up. Spine is still long. Notice if you're sticking the belly out, just a little bit, ever so slightly, bring the belly back in. Noticing where you feel the breath here. Might be more obvious in the sides of the body, the sides of the rib cage. Just where do you feel the breath? And then letting go of that. Just do a couple of head rolls in one direction, slowly. Really getting into all the corners, but being mindful as you go back. Only going as far back as feels good. And then going in the opposite direction. Breathing freely. And then coming back to center. Just do our twist then, so bringing our left hand onto our right knee, bringing the right hand up in line with the shoulders and bringing it down onto the ground, If you're on a chair, you can put it onto the back of the chair or on your lower back. And as you inhale, lengthen the spine as if there's this string pulling up the crown of the head. And as you exhale, gazing softly over the right shoulder. So inhale, the spine lengthens. And exhale, gazing softly over the right shoulder. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, twisting. Coming back to center, we'll bring the right hand onto the left knee this time. And then reach the left hand back in line with the shoulders and down onto the ground. Inhale, lengthening as if there's this string pulling up the crown of the head. And then as you exhale, twisting and gazing softly over your left shoulder. Inhale, the spine lengthens, lifting up. Exhale, twisting and gazing softly over the shoulder. Last one. Inhale, the spine lengthens. And exhale, twisting. Coming back to center. And feeling free to do any last wiggles you would like to do before we settle into stillness. These stretches are a great thing. You can spend more time on them if you want. If you want to do another round, or at any time before starting a seated practice or any of the future seated practices, do feel free to do these beforehand, because they're just such a nice way to start the practice. Gently closing the eyes. Just take a couple of deep breaths to start. So deep exhaling, taking a full deep breath into the belly expanding, and exhaling out through the mouth. Another one, deep, full, long inhale into the belly. And exhaling out, letting go. One last time, full, deep, expansive inhale into the belly. And exhaling slowly, slowly out through the mouth. Allowing the breath to return to its natural rhythm. Relaxing the forehead, the eyebrows, softening the eyeballs, the eyelids, the cheeks, the jaw, tongue, throat, the shoulders soft and relaxed, almost as if melting away from the neck, melting away, melting down. And noticing any areas of habitual tension, any areas that are just feel a little tight, a little tense, inviting those areas to soften, to relax, to let go a little bit more. So for this practice, I'm going to do a body scan. So I'm going to go through labeling different body parts. And as I label these body parts, just allow your awareness to rest upon them. If you can't feel them, just imagine them. You can imagine them in space. It's in your mind's eye, picturing them. But do inquire into going in and feeling them. So beginning at the fingers, the space of the fingers. You even notice some warmth. It's the contact between the fingers and a body part. And the palms of the hands. Sensations of warmth, tingling. And the backs of the hands. Maybe they feel a little cooler. Or maybe just exactly the same. The wrists, space occupied by the wrists. Forearms. The elbows, inner elbow, outer elbow, the whole space occupied by the elbows. The upper arms, the armpits, toes, space occupied by the toes. Soles of the feet. Any sensations of maybe contact, of temperature, hot or cold, tingling. The tops of the feet. Ankles. Space, this 3D space occupied by the ankles. The shins and the calves. All the space between the shins and the calves. The knees, noticing a difference between the backs of the knees and the fronts of the knees. Might feel slightly different. Or maybe it's just a general awareness of where the knees are located. Space between the front and the backs of the knees. Spaciousness of the knees. Thighs, space occupied by the thighs, inner landscape. Maybe it's more of a surface experience where the clothing comes in contact with the thighs, or the contact of the ground beneath the thighs. The pelvic region, in and around the pelvis, this 3D space, the spaciousness around the pelvis. The pelvis, belly. Be a slight movement from the breath, going into the internal space of the belly, this inner landscape between the belly and the lower back. All this internal space. The rib cage, including the front, the chest, and the back, the upper back, the sides of the rib cage, and all this internal space contained within the rib cage. Feeling in, sensing, maybe told by the breath, or maybe just this awareness that there is space here, this space where you live, where the heart is. And the shoulders, backs of the shoulders, the tops of the shoulders, and the front of the shoulders. The space occupied by the shoulders. The neck, the throat within the neck, this expansive, spacious throat. Within the neck, all this space, feeling that. Chin, tongue, teeth, gums, lips, nose, outer surface of the nose and the inner nostrils. Cheeks, ears, inner ears and outer ears. Eyes, eyeballs, eyelids and eyelashes, eyebrows, forehead, crown of the head, the entirety of the head is a whole. Torso and the arms, it's a whole interconnected web of sensations. And the legs, experiencing the whole entire body as a sea of feeling, of textures. Maybe it's contact with the air, contact with the clothing, or contact with the ground. It's a sea of temperatures, some parts warmer, some parts cooler. Or just a sea of general sensations of tinglings, of aliveness, this alive, breathing body. So much going on beneath the surface. Although we are sitting perfectly still, cells are regenerating, blood is flowing, nerves are active, impulses and pulses, signals being sent throughout the body, lungs breathing, body breathing. This beautiful body where we live. Just doing whatever needs to do to keep us alive. That is actually actively having to think what needs to be done. That is actively having to think what muscles we need to contract in order to breathe, but what cells need to be replenished. It's miraculous, really, this body. Breathing body. Mind it does wander, just gently bringing it back to the body, to the breath, to sensation. It's okay for the mind to wander. Just gently bringing it back to this moment whenever you notice. And feeling free to remain here for however long you wish. There's no hurry. Whenever you're ready, slowly opening the eyes, letting the light back in, bombarded with the stimulation of light and shapes and forms. And in your own time, taking your time, slowly starting to move and make your way back into the rest of your day. Inviting as much of this peace and tranquility as possible, of course. Life does happen, but from accessing these states in these spaces, the more we access, the more we experience this, the more we know that we can learn to access this with more ease in our daily lives. Of course, it does take practice, but it's definitely worth it. With love.